Hey, welcome to episode 2 of my Photon Smasher adventure. I'm building a microphone that can not only listen to light, but allow you to use light to make music for performances. In the first episode, we looked at the current version of the Photon Smasher, what I love about it, and all the things I'd like to improve for the future. In today's episode, I'm showing you all my progress over the last couple of weeks, going from breadboard to circuit board. I've been laser cutting, designing, manufacturing, fabricating, testing, all sorts of really fun, exciting experiments, and I'm really excited to share with you the progress that I've made. So, without further ado, here's episode 2 of my Photon Smasher adventure. Here we go. Beautiful. I'm really happy. Oh, and it lives! Hey, I've just taken delivery of some brand new solar panels. Here we go. Much smaller than the previous ones. Really excited about these because it means I'm going to be able to make the form factor smaller and then turning that into a schematic that I can put into KiCad. It's the circuit board design software that I use. And once I've got that circuit in there, I can look at adding some artwork to the circuit board. I haven't done that before, but really excited to experiment. Once I've done that, I can send it off to be printed. So, excited for today, going to be trying out loads of new things. Let's see how it goes and what I'm going to get wrong along the way. Here we go. So, the first thing that I did was to open up KiCad and draw in my schematic. After you put that together, the first thing I did was I needed to assign my footprints. So basically every time I've said use a capacitor, use a resistor, I need to tell it, well, what size is that component? I then generated a netlist, which turns this into a file I can open up in the circuit builder. Put all my components down, I've drawn the wires in between each of the components, and this is where you get to do the most rewarding, the most fun part, which is you get to go into the 3D viewer and you get to have a look at your lovely circuit in 3D. Beautiful. So what next? Well, now I get to start playing around with the physical hardware. I've got the circuit designed, but I don't know how big the circuit board needs to be because I don't know how big the whole device needs to be. So I'm going to start doing some physical prototyping, and for that, I get to use my new toy. Here we go. These are some prototype designs for the Smasher. So what we're looking at here is the what would be hopefully eventually acrylic, but this is the sort of the bit of material that the solar panel is going to sit on. So when it comes to the actual form factor, what I'm imagining is something like this on the top. Solar panel then sits on top like that, say. What you'll then have is some, they're called spacers, I think, in the corners with allowing for about 6mm, which is what the size of the 3.5mm mono jack. So even though it's a 3.5mm, I've got to allow for 6mm of clearance between the bottom of this panel and the PCB, the printed circuit board that it sits on. I'm quite happy with that thickness. What I need to play around with though is shapes really, and just thinking about how these are going to work together. So what I've done is I've printed off a mixture of circles and hexagons, and I did some, at this point I'm going to flash up the 3D models that I made. These are some kind of like test cuts for some form factors where I'm playing around with different dimensions, and really I just want to see how they feel in the hand. So something like this, massive, quite easy for me to grip and to hold and to maybe manipulate, but if you had much smaller hands then it wouldn't be ideal. The other end of that is if I went with something really tiny like that just feels too small, and it feels a bit like I don't know, like I'm having to pinch to use it. So I don't like that. It's whether you want to hold it like that or hold it like that. If you do that, then your fingers are going to be covering the solar panel, so that's not good. So you want it more like that. I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to do all of these cuts again so that I can stack them up and actually get used to because I'm thinking of them at this thin, whereas really I should be thinking of them at like this thickness. Yeah, that feels way more substantial. When it comes to circle versus hexagon, the circle is definitely more satisfying. Let's check that's in shot. Yeah. The circle is way more satisfying visually, but if I were to start tessellating loads of them together, I mean, these are all different sizes, of course, but you start to get some like really cool, just imagine like loads of them all next to each other. You know, I'm imagining like, imagine if each one of these had a panel on, and then it could be connected to a different effect. So that one could be delay, one could be reverb, one could be pitch, and as you shone a light over it, it would then change the effect as you moved across it. And the fact they're so close is really satisfying. They could also be like stereo image, they could go to different speakers in the room, they could go to different inputs on the computer. You get loads of really exciting possibilities, all from them being like tightly packed. They could also have different features inherently as well, like different values, etc., etc. So I think the fact that they tessellate is more exciting than them being aesthetically pleasing. Not that these aren't, I think they still are. But yeah, I think what I need to do now, cut more of them so I can stack them together and then just feel the form factor in my hand. Okay, here we go, more cutting. Okay, so for anyone familiar with this Photon Smasher, this is what the original artwork looks like. So here you can see how the artwork has been positioned around the solar panel to make space for it to sit in that dotted area. What I need to think about doing is how I can put that on the circuit board or below the perspex on top. So let's have a look at what I did. So this is the same artwork, but what I've done now is I've actually distributed all of these dots and dashes so they fill the space, and I've just pushed that text a bit further apart so it makes room in the middle for where the actual circuit components are going to sit. So the next step was getting this artwork out of Affinity Designer and into KiCad. Now, really importantly here, I'm only working with one colour. So although it might look like we've got white infill in that text there, it's not, it's negative space. It's transparent. So anything that's black is what I'm going to be taking from here and into the circuit board, because essentially the background color is whatever color I pick for the circuit board, and then the design I'm putting on top is my silk screen. And here we go, here is the circuit board. So just imagine that it's black and not green. I can't work out how to change that. But yeah, this is what it's going to look like. So we've got holes where all the legs of the components are going to go through. We've also got holes around the edge where my spaces are going to fit between the acrylic on the top and the circuit board underneath. So I've made those holes 2.2mm because I'm working with 2mm screws, so a little bit of space so they can fit through still. And that's what it looks like. I thought I'd also make use of the back of the device as well. So I've actually also put, if I turn my back silk screen on and jump into the 3D viewer, you can kind of see where this is going. I put the clip logo on there as well. Ta-da! So this has been a really cool process. Because I don't use this software very often, I kind of have to wrap my head around it each time I do and remind myself and watch a bunch of tutorials. But I feel like some of that information is starting to stick, which is really nice. I love that I've been able to use the artwork from the previous instrument in this new design as well. That's really satisfying, but make it work nicely with the actual form factor. So you might be able to see, but all the dots are larger in the center and they get smaller as we go out. All the lines all emanate from that center point. So those two open spaces there are where the solar panel, the cable from the solar panel is going to come down and join the middle of the board. So So yeah, hopefully the design's going to be really satisfying. One thing I'm kind of slightly cautious about is that I know obviously the solar panel is going to mask quite a lot of this design. So what I might look at doing is thinking about how can I echo the design on the acrylic as well. Could I laser cut the same design on top? Not sure. I mean, I could always look at trying to arc that design even further around the top and bottom so you can still see it from even with the solar panel being there, but I'm not sure. It might just be a bit of a hidden treat almost, you know, it's not something you can fully see, but you know that it's there, which is quite cool. So yeah, we'll see how this feels, but what I'm going to do now is export the Gerber files, they're called, and I'm going to send them off to the factory they're going to be printed. So let's cut to like a week from now where you'll see me and I'm going to film a little bit of an unboxing. Wish me luck, here we go.
One eternity later.
I got them in the end actually in two colours. I went for the white on black and the black on white. So, let's have a look. Oh, wow. Oh, that is so good. Oh, wow. Let's get a close up. That is beautiful. Okay, that's white on black. Let's have a look at the other one. Ooh. Oh, I'm so happy with how the artwork has turned out as well. So now, is to see if the circuit works. See if it works. So, when I turn on this light, we will hear this sound. Here we go. Fingers crossed. It lives! Oh god, that's such a relief. Oh my god. Wow. Okay. Here we go. Here is Photon Smasher version 2. You can you can spin it around. That's cool. Wow, okay. First impressions. Well, I've definitely put the 3.5mm jack too far inboard on the circuit board. I think it's a bit tight, and depending what kind of jack you're using, you might end up with a couple problems. So something I'll need to look at is getting that placement perfect. The artwork has come out really lovely on the circuit board, but it's almost a shame that you can't see it behind the solar panel. Cautious about is that I know obviously the solar panel is going to mask quite a lot of this design. So maybe I need to think about inverting the artwork, well not inverting, but like switching it around so that the beautiful design is on the rear where I've put the clip logo. That's something to consider, because you can't, I mean, it kind of makes you want to explore it, which is quite fun, but I also feel like maybe it's a bit of a waste. Wow, this is really cool. One thing I hadn't thought about, and it's definitely something to think about, is that every time I was like experimenting with holding it, I was always holding it on its own, and I was negating the cable running down, which is a massive oversight, because I've got to think about, am I going to be, do I want to hold it by that cable? That kind of works, actually. It feels all right. I need to do some more experimenting. It exists. It works. We have the Photon Smasher version 2. That's really cool. Yeah, wow. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, I'm really happy. Okay, all right, I'm going to keep playing. See you soon.